Okay, let's be honest. Have you ever stared at a set of instructions and felt like you needed a secret decoder ring just to figure them out? Yeah, me too. Well, today we're going to fix that. We're going to master the art of explaining how things work, and we'll be using some, let's just say, memorable examples to make sure it all sinks in.
What we're really talking about here is a kind of superpower. It's the ability to look at something complicated and just make it simple, make it make sense. It's the key to explaining literally anything to anyone.
That's right, we're diving headfirst into the world of cartoon logic. Just picture it. You're Wile E. Coyote, you've just gotten your brand new gadget from the Acme Corporation, and you're looking at the instructions. If that piece of paper isn't crystal clear, things are about to go very, very wrong.
And this is pretty much the end result of bad instructions, isn't it? You get a frustrated customer, a totally ruined plan, and maybe, just maybe, a giant boulder sitting where your head used to be. It's funny, sure, but it highlights a super important point. Clarity is everything. So let's build ourselves a toolkit to avoid these kinds of disasters.
First things first, every great explanation has to start with the right words. I mean, if you don't know what to call the different parts, how can you possibly explain how to use them? This is our foundation. Think of these as the essential tools in your gadget toolkit.
Let's start with the absolute basics, the switch. It's usually the first thing you're looking for, right? It's the gatekeeper. Is the power on or is it off? So simple, but you can't do anything without it.
Next up, we've got the lever. Think of the lever as the muscle of the machine. You give it a good push or a pull, and it makes the machine actually do something. It's all about action and reaction.
Okay, so how does the machine talk back to you? Well, that's where the indicator light comes in. This little light is your main line of communication. Green probably means go. Blinking red might mean hold on, I'm heating up, and a solid red, well, that might just mean run.
Sometimes you can't just stick something into a machine, you have to put it in a special container first, and that's usually a pouch. Like with a laminator. The pouch is there to hold and protect whatever you're working with.
And what's the action of putting that pouch in? We call that to feed it into the machine. You're not just dropping it in there. You're carefully guiding it, feeding it into the mechanism so it does its job right.
But what happens when it all goes wrong? It gets jammed. We've all been there. The paper in the printer, the toast in the toaster, everything just grinds to a screeching halt. Knowing this word is half the battle when it comes to fixing it.
Okay, quick recap of our toolkit. It's pretty straightforward when you lay it all out. You've got your switch for power, a lever to make it go, an indicator to tell you what's happening. You put your item in a pouch, you feed it into the machine, and you really hope it doesn't jam. These are the words we're going to build on. So we have the right words. That's a great start. But the words themselves are totally useless if you just throw them out in any random order. Now we get to the fun part, turning a chaotic mess into a crystal clear process.
Just look at this. These are the steps to change a flat tire, but they are an absolute disaster. Mount the spare tire first before you've even jacked up the car. You're going to have a really, really bad day if you follow these instructions. This is pure chaos. So how do we bring order to the chaos? It's actually easier than you think. We use some simple but incredibly powerful little things called sequencing phrases. Think of them like road signs that guide you from one step to the next, creating a smooth, logical journey. And voila! Look at the difference. First things first, loosen the lug nuts. Then, jack up the car. Once you've done that, you can take the flat tire off. See how those little phrases guide you? It turns a confusing list into a foolproof roadmap. It's the difference between success and, well, failure. Okay, so we've got the right words, and we've put them in the right order. But there's one more piece to this puzzle. How do we know if the person we're explaining it to is actually following along? That's where our third and final tool comes in, the amazing question tag. Question tags are such a neat little trick. You just make a normal statement, and then you stick a tiny little question on the end to check if the other person agrees or understands. Like, you checked the plug, didn't you? It's a fantastic way to keep people engaged and make sure you're both on the same page. All right, this is it, the moment of truth. We have our vocabulary, we have our sequencing phrases, and we have our question tags. Let's go back to that Acme dehydrated boulder and write the perfect set of instructions. This time, no one gets hurt. Okay, let's do this right. Notice how we start. We use our sequencing phrase and our key vocabulary right out of the gate. First of all, take the tiny pebble out of the pouch. Clear and simple.
And let's just make sure we're all on the same page here. This is the critical first step. We start with the pouch, don't we, Eduardo? Exactly. We've got to get that pebble out first. Perfect.
Awesome. On to step 2. Then, carefully feed a single drop of water onto it. See that word? Feed? It doesn't say splash or dump. It says feed, which tells you this has to be a very careful, very precise action.
And of course, the most important step, safety. Now, if the process gets jammed, if it starts to smoke or shake or make a funny noise, you should probably just run away, shouldn't you? Yeah, I think we can all agree on that one. Safety first.
So there you have it. It all boils down to these 3 simple keys for a perfect, disaster-proof explanation. 1. Use the right words, your gadget toolkit. 2. Put them in the right order, using those handy sequencing phrases. And 3. Check that your listener is with you, using question tags. Words, order, check. That's the magic formula.
And really, that's all there is to it. These simple tools can turn confusion into clarity, prevent major screw-ups, and maybe even keep a few cartoon coyotes safe from falling boulders. You have the tools now, so the only real question left is, what complex idea are you going to explain next?